So you know how the neighbors across the street are moving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you remember the most about them? What's like the one thing that sticks out for you?
I mean, I remember Ozzy and all, but
Well, yeah. I mean, Ozzy's on the list, I'd say.
Oh, okay. So they apparently got a new dog, but I only saw him once, and he waved at me.
The one thing I remember about them is the milk.
Oh, well, that I remember. Yeah, that was actually the first thing that came to my mind when you said that. But
we would trade old baby clothes from our younger siblings to them in exchange for milk.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him this morning when I was getting the mail, and I just had flashbacks of standing in his home watching Chicago Fire, that drama TV show on their TV, while he's taking our bags full of clothes and giving us cartons of milk. Welcome to Rocket to Anywhere, the show whose hosts want to wear their long top. Oh, what am I messing up?
What now? Our long tops? Is that like the opposite of crop top?
This is what we get for recording at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to pack up the proverbial freezer, I guess.
Okay, what does that word mean?
Proverbial?
Yes.
I've
heard it 30 times in the last week, and I never know what it is.
It's okay, I only learned it because of Eugene from Adventures in Odyssey, but it's basically let's get Siri to answer this for us.
Proverbial means of a word or phrase referred to in a proverb or idiom.
I guess.
Okay, all I heard was it's a proverb.
It's a word that you use. It's an analogy. It's another word for analogy. Dumbing it down.
Okay, wait. So say your sentence again.
We are recording at night this week to stock up the proverbial freezer, if you want to call my hard drive a freezer, with episodes, so that we have stuff to release on the weeks that we're on set and very busy.
So set up the analogy freezer on my hard drive. Is that what you said?
Anyway, let's go back to the point. This is Rocket to Anywhere, the show whose hosts want to wear the Lost in Oz pins, but can't because one can't find theirs and the other doesn't want to put a hole in their shirt. I'm Corbin, the one with no hole currently in any of my clothing.
That's good compared to mine.
Yeah.
And mine aren't from pins. Mine are from sleeping.
Well, if you're wondering why we're bringing up Lost in Oz, it's because this week on the show we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Season 2/102. It's the weird way Amazon puts their things.
/2/2/201.
6,000, whatever. Season 2/102.
Slash the next episodes, it's all the same.
Of the Amazon original show, animated Amazon original show, Lost in Oz.
Talking about animation. Okay. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw the little... I don't watch trailers, okay? Just so you know, I don't watch trailers. So, scrolling through, and you know how the video automatically plays?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I saw, the first 2 seconds of the Incredibles 2 trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why did they animate the people different?
What do you mean?
They're so different. The mom doesn't even look the same. And then Dasher's, the only one who actually looks the same.
No, they recycled a bunch of the models. They just, looks better now.
No, it doesn't. It looks terrible.
I think they did.
They look like God Rocks. And if you've ever watched that, you're like,
totally
ooh.
rock and chip.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh man, we should have put that on our list of things that we forgot to mention. List of things that were engraved in our minds.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of that, follow up. Here's some more things we forgot to mention in our segment last week on stuff we forgot. Stuff that we forgot. Why do we keep saying that? Stuff we
forgot that is supposed to be engraved into our minds, but we forgot that it was until now.
First one on the list. This got reminded about this morning when I was watching the Messy Mondays episode on, they do their, you might be a homeschooler if they did the opposite this morning. You might be a public schooler if it says.
If you're watching this video.
Yeah. Well, it said the PBS schedule. If it was engraved in your mind, if you knew it by heart, you were probably...
The VBS schedule?
No, the PBS.
Oh, that, yeah.
Well, yeah, the VBS too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, know 'em all. Yeah, I knew the PBS schedule. Like, I could tell time by what was on PBS. Oh, it's Clifford on TV. It's 3:00.
Yep.
Martha Speaks. Oh,
4
it's
o'clock.
3:30.
Ah!
Arthur.
Oh, yeah, Arthur was at 4. They
Yeah.
changed. See, in my time, they changed it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then Wildcrats would come on. And then
Ooh,
when
at
Rough
5,
Ruffman
yeah.
came on, we had to turn off the TV because we weren't allowed to watch Rough Ruffman
Or Word Girl.
or Word Girl.
What was that one? It was that Miguel, Maya, Miguel.
Oh, Maya and
whatever.
Miguel.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. They discontinued PBS Kids Go. I don't know why they did that. There was some good shows.
I never watched PBS Kids Go. I don't understand what that was.
It was shows targeted towards the older ages, like people who were like 5th or 6th graders who didn't want to watch Clifford.
See, I got tired of watching Clifford because they kept airing the same shows, same episodes.
I mean, they didn't create many, and there was Puppy Days, but Puppy Days didn't air
Yeah.
on PBS except for like that twice a year where they would air the one episode they had like the rights to, where it was the origin story of Clifford.
Yeah.
It was like a crossover. I mean, Infinity War, the most ambitious crossover ever. There was like a screen cap next to it of Puppy Days and Clifford. Take that odd ones out.
okay.
Who said that Puppy Days and Clifford should have had a crossover? They did.
I always wanted it.
It happened once on the origin story. Like, they went into his doghouse. Emily Elizabeth sat up there on the thing, and she's like, Clifford, I'm going to tell you a story of how you were brought to Birdwell Island from the mainland.
But he lived it. He should know.
Oh.
What?
Let's not get into the world of animal rights and stuff as they say on Old City Limits.
Okay.
It's the fact that
Okay,
Buster the bunny on Arthur, he had a bunny as a pet.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing on the list. We're taking a long time. It's been a while on the Nile, which
Wearing the shirt.
yep, wearing the shirt. Got to rep the
Since 5th grade.
merch. Mm-hmm. If you've never seen it, again, we'll put a link to that in the show notes if you want to watch
No,
that.
I haven't been wearing the shirt since 5th grade. I mean, like.
It's like that kid from Danger and Eggs who got stuck.
Yeah.
He lives underground, and it's like, you can't leave now.
Oh, Duncan.
Duncan, that's right.
That impression was so good because I actually understood who you were talking about.
Okay, let's get out of this hole. It's already been 14 minutes. Thought of the week. What do you have?
For this, you're gonna have to write this down. So, yes, write it down. I mean, you can type it, but so write down. Is it crazy how saying sentences backwards creates backwards sentences saying how crazy it is? Write that down. Read it backwards.
Race car.
And it's exactly the same. Ooh, about race car. Okay, so there's this thing, and it's like some words are the same forwards and backwards, but other words are the same forwards, backwards, and upside down.
And those are?
I have no idea because I didn't watch the video.
I hop and I hob. My thought of the week is this. So we all make fun of elephants, or not all of us, I guess I should say. Some of us,
Corbon.
not including me, make
Okay,
fun.
then why don't you just say nobody makes fun of elephants?
I'm just going to read it the way it was written.
Okay.
We always make fun of elephants being scared by mice, but we, the most intelligent species, are scared of insects and spiders.
Mm-hmm. You over there, scared of a butterfly?
I put a fake bug on the kitchen counter and scared myself with it. I turned around, I got a glass of water, I turned back, dropped it on myself. What is that, a beetle?
I've eaten a beetle. And a
Oh,
cricket.
we don't want to hear about it, okay?
Oh, yeah, I remember that time I was at camp, and I was trying, okay, so I'm not going to say why, but I put a cricket inside, okay, yeah, so I put a cricket
You're
inside.
just checking yourself. You're like, are you sure you want to tell the story? Okay,
Yeah, I
let's
was
go
like,
on with it.
Okay, so I put a onion-flavored cricket inside. It tastes like Funyun, by the way.
You
So I
sound just
put-
like a little bottle of onion powder. Oh, I want a little onion powder.
No, it was sold by the what's his name?
Le Chef.
Keith Coast? Coast. There we go, Keith Coast.
That's the guy who got himself in a bubble.
Yeah, and he did the chicken dance, and I was just, I don't even know. So I put the cricket inside of a fudge brownie that I got at camp. It was delicious, man. Delicious. You really need to try it.
This morning, I was reliving the memories of the first time I ever cooked for our family. I said, everyone out of the kitchen. I'm going to make dinner, okay? Go watch a movie. I'll be making dinner.
Just the story that,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't realize I was using really old pasta. I was like, wow, this pasta comes pre-spiced. I cook it, I serve it, and people start eating like, wow, this spice is really crunchy. What is it? It has like a nice saltiness. And then we look
And then
at it.
I'm over there, and I put my plate in the sun, and I'm like, those are dead bugs.
Those dead little ant
Thingies.
beetles.
4 legs.
Yeah, and some of them were alive.
Yep.
I'm like, I was mortified. I didn't cook for a couple months after that.
And he was the one who ate the most.
If you want people to eat your food, you got to eat the food first. Really committed to it. That's why every time I make pasta and spaghetti for our family now, no one even looks like, are you sure? Okay, speaking of that, I don't even know what that has to do with this. Learn a word. This week's word is deltiology. Deltiology, Deltiology, which is the hobby of collecting postcards. When I hear this word, I think of only one person and one person only. Brady Heron of the Hello Internet podcast, collecting all those postcards for their show, The Hello Internet, when they had people send in a little postcards as ballots for their voting for a new flag. If you don't listen to that show and you like this show, you really should. Most likely you came from that show to this show, if for some weird reason you heard of us. Anyway, if you want to look at those postcards, they're all posted, high quality, nice images. Tons of postcards from all over the world. Really great ones. I've seen some really good ones. Some of them are even good for like putting wallpapers on your phone. But if you want to look at them, look in the show notes. There's a link to that website at rta.space/52. Okay, let's move on to joke time. Because this week we're going to be talking about Lost in Oz. I tried to get some jokes related to the Emerald City and the great land of Oz itself. So, first, you get started. What do you have?
Oh, let's just do a cringy one, man. Robin says, the Batmobile won't start. Batman says, check the battery. Robin says, what's it, Terry? Because, he puts the word bat in front of everything. I think. I'm not really sure. I've never watched the movie. I'm just reading off the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not good spelling. Because, what kind of kid in the Emerald City gets the best grades in school? The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
Not that
But
great.
what if O's were the actual, O's were the equivalent of A?
Hello, Dr. O.
Yeah. A man got hit hard in the head. Hard. Ooh, we gotta use some adjectives there, man. A man got hit hard in the head with a can of 7-Up. But he's okay, because it was a soft drink. But okay.
I don't get it. Sorry.
How do you not get that? That's like the oldest joke ever.
What did the Wicked Witch of the East eat ice cream in?
I've heard this joke before. I don't remember though.
A munch cone.
There we go. That's what it was. You know why you never see elephants hiding up in trees? Because they're really good at it.
Here's a joke I made myself. What's Toto's favorite song?
Toto!
Africa. Da 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 da.
Why aren't koalas actual bears?
Because they can't handle anything?
They don't meet the qualifications.
Oh, man, that's like that time I told you that joke. You had a koala stuffed bear, and you were like, what should I name him? And I said, I don't think I'm qualified to tell you that.
I know. I just hit you with the koala. I was like, I'm done with you. Just go
If
to
I
the
told you who I stole that
place.
joke from, specifically on this episode of the show, you would not be happy.
What?
I'm not going to tell you. What I will tell you is this joke that has nothing to do with Lost in Oz. What did Ward Cleaver write in his will? Ward Cleaver, Ward?
No.
The father
No.
of,
Of who?
on that show. Ward Cleaver wrote in his will, leave it to Beaver.
Oh, I was trying to figure out which one was the cleaver, and I was like, all I could think of was the Three Stooges, and I'm like, no.
Good morning, Mrs. Cleaver.
Oh. 2 goldfish are in a tank. One looks at the other and says, you know how to drive this thing? Okay, wait. That's funny, but I didn't even pre-read it, so I don't get it.
Okay, we'll leave it with that. So let's move on to topic time. This week, like we said at the beginning, we're going to be talking about Lost in Oz Season 102, a.k.a. Part 2 of Season 1. It's the weird way Amazon formats things. They do 101, 102, 103. They're weird that way. But we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes, 1 through 3, aka chapters 14, 15, and 16. That's the way they call it. It's a lot of weird numbering and organization systems that Amazon uses. So if you've never heard of Lost in Oz is an animated Amazon original adaptation of the 14 Oz books written by Frank L. Baum. Now, most people know about The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which is, that book that was created into the famous movie in the 1930s.
I'm not part of the most people, just so you know.
Yeah, well, we saw it. In school, they made us watch like the 1960s weird remake that was shot in a roller skating rink. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But anyway, most people know about those books in the original movie adaptation, but that's just the first book. This show isn't about that Dorothy from the movie or the book. The one we know from the original movie stuff. This Lost in Oz follows the journey of Dorothy's granddaughter, who also happens to be named Dorothy, and who also happens to have a dog named Toto. It follows her journey from her home in Kansas to Oz, and hopefully back to Kansas, because I haven't finished watching the season yet. Sophia, don't spoil it for me or the listeners.
I don't spoil things, man. You're the one who spoils it.
Okay, so in case you haven't watched the show, the first season, or you don't plan on watching it at all, but just want to hear us talk about it for some reason, the Tin Woodman and the Cowardly Lion never appear in Lost in Oz except for a painting on the walls of Glinda's flying palace/castle thing.
Wait, what do you mean? There's a lion character.
Well, yeah, but it's not like the real one. The real Cowardly Lion.
Well, none of them are real.
Well, but I'm talking about like the original one from the book. Like if I
There's
only had a
nothing
heart.
in that movie from original.
Anyway, the only like original character from the original movie and book and stuff are the Scarecrow and Glinda, and a couple of assorted characters like
Wait,
the Pac.
Glinda was a real character?
Yeah, I mean she's like the most important one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, in case you didn't watch season 1, the plot was the following. Dorothy Gale is a precocious child who, with her dog Toto, is swept up to the land of Oz without a clear way home. To travel back, Dorothy must collect all the different types of magical elements with her newfound friends, the streetwise witch West and friendly munchkin Ojo, while a sinister plot unfolds around them. So at the end of season 101, we saw her take off in her home, only to end up back on Oz in the Deadly Desert. So season 2, 102, it picks up right where we left off in season 1, right here, Deadly Desert, with the following plot. So Dorothy and Toto, working together with their friends, must find their way out of the Deadly Desert and save Emerald City from the Gnome Kingdom to have any chance of getting back to Kansas. So
I hate that they didn't pronounce it Gnome.
Yes, I know. That's the way I learned it from Keeper of the Lost Cities. It's Gnome, but they spelled it Nome. Maybe there's like a copyright reason or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about that. So, like I said, we're only talking about the first 3 episodes of the season, and the reason why I picked the first 3 episodes is because they cover one story: the journey from the Deadly Desert to the Gnome Kingdom / present mine, where they mine presents or whatever, and then back out to the Deadly Desert, where I presume they will make their way back to the Emerald City. Do they? Just say yes or no.
Excuse me? Spoilers? No,
Okay.
oh man.
Sorry, River Song. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the B plot line in these 3 episodes is West coming to accept / control her power of apparently being able to conjure up magical elements out of nothing, just creating them. During this B plotline, though, I had one question. Aren't Glinda, West, Ojo, and the others worried that Scarecrow is missing?
Oh yeah, okay. I never understood that.
Yeah, like, aren't they like, aren't they like, or from their perspective, I guess they see that Dorothy left and apparently Scarecrow went with her, so aren't they worried that Scarecrow went back to Kansas and is like living there?
Yeah.
So I'd be like, that's like a plot hole there. So, yeah, okay. So starting off episode 1 of season 201, we set the twister that the gnomes had sent, which we find out later that the gnomes sent it. But from Dorothy's perspective, she thinks that she wished for them to stay in Oz, so she thinks that she caused the twister to bring them back. Scarecrow is like, oh, I got too close to your house and got sucked up with you. I'm like, isn't that what Clara did? She got too close to the TARDIS, and apparently if you hug the outside of the TARDIS, you can travel with the Doctor. Because if that's true, Think back to that episode of like where the Doctor ends up back on Gallifrey and the Weeping Angels start hugging the TARDIS. Why didn't the Weeping Angels go in the TARDIS, huh? Anyway, Doctor Who isn't the point here. So let's get back to this. So after a bit of being here in the Deadly Desert, Scarecrow tells Dorothy and Toto, you can't walk on the sand because if you do, you become a sand ghost. So after a bit, they think they see a lighthouse in the distance, but they don't know that the light is a reflection, so they use a mirror to send out a help signal, and this thing called Carpetto Magicalis. I don't know why they had to call it. Why couldn't they just call it the magic carpet?
They never said who sent out the carpet, did they?
No, they did. It was sent by the gnomes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they think it was a response to the call, but it was actually sent out by the gnomes.
Wait, so then why did they send those wheelers?
Yeah, I know. I was about to think that. They're riding through the desert on the carpet, and these, like, wheelers, which have Gunther's from the series Unfortunate Events, they have Gunther's accent. It's like, we had, Anyway. Like, were they working for the gnomes, or were they, like, their own personal purposes, just trying to kidnap people and sell them off or whatever?
I don't know.
I think they were just like, oh, look, there's people on our territory, and we're the only creatures that can travel here, and they have this fancy technology of flying on a Carpetto Magicalis. So fast forwarding, Dorothy and Toto end up walking on the desert. Dorothy falls off. What was it? She fell off?
Yeah.
Okay, and Toto ends up following her. And they like get swept up in this like little turbine thing, and they seem to hallucinate thanks to some sand ghosts who apparently want new friends. But they get saved by Scarecrow / Carpetto, and they make their way to land where they encounter the security system of large stone fists that they thought was the lighthouse. And they make it through Christopher Eccleston style, episode 2 of Doctor Who, where Christopher Eccleston is this long turbine of fans in his way, and he needs to get to the other side where there's a lever. In this case, Dorothy, there was a door there, and it's like, I will just use my Time Lord powers and walk through. Anyway.
Well, she didn't walk through. She had to,
Yeah, the
it's
rhythm.
It's a pattern.
Mm-hmm. It's a pattern. This is, okay, Dora. Click.
Yeah, Dora, man. She's like, oh, let's go before that part starts.
Yeah.
Because it was like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so right here when she crosses through the fists in the episode, we hit episode 2 here. And episode 2, we introduce the B plot line, which focuses more on West, who, back in the Emerald City, we see is trying to cure her magic powers by going to some doctor who is basically the internet doctor from Talking Tom and Friends. The guy is like,
yeah,
always there. I am internet doctor. I am your psychologist. I am your therapist. I am everything. Whatever you want me to do. He's like, oh, the psychologist isn't here right now. Let me go get him. Puts the sign down, changes his costume. Oh, I am here now.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we see that he calls and tells the gnomes that he's found West because doctor-patient confidentiality doesn't apply because he's not an actual doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So when West heads home, her mom tells her that she's going to try and create some sort of like spell thing to stop her powers from developing. But Glinda, later on, we see that Ojo alerts Glinda to this. So Glinda goes by and talks to West's mom, and she's eventually convinced not to go through with getting rid of West's powers. After West and Ojo are almost kidnapped by a gnome, who apparently, according to our other sister who watched this, is like a shadow gnome or something. Is that spoiling anything?
Yes, do not say that.
Okay, so I don't know anything, but that was spoiled for me, and apparently that's some important plot point. So West gets taken to Glinda's castle for basically Glinda to train and mentor for I don't know how long, because I haven't watched the rest of the season. Sophia has seen the rest of the season, but I haven't. I've only seen the first 3 episodes. So back to the Gnome Land area. Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and Toto are taken as prisoners / birthday gifts for the king, who was... we had never seen the king before in season 1, right?
No.
Okay, so I thought he was like some big, really important guy, where it's just this young kid who's like the king, which is like, what was that? Was that in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? No, that wasn't it. It was this, some shows like The Barefoot Executive, one of those old Disney shows, where the guy's like, King whatever of France became king at 4 years old. Anyway. So this king, when they're presented to the king as birthday gifts, he likes their music and orders them to become his new BFFs. And before, he likes their music, they play a song which is basically the gnome equivalent of "Everything is Awesome," in my opinion. Okay, so here we hit episode 3. I'm really speeding through this. So later, the king, Dorothy, and the Scarecrow, and Toto learn that the gnomes are unhappy with the king himself and are planning some sort of a coup or rebellion or trying to overthrow him. So Dorothy and the Scarecrow and Toto say, King, you don't want to be harmed, so we'll help you if you just grant us passage out of here. We will escape on the last wind of the season, because apparently there's only wind during a certain season out there, in this sandboat that Dorothy built out of recycled presents. So episode 3 ends with them making their way out into the desert. They escape the gnome land, trying to get to Emerald City. But we see that they left the magical notebook behind, which is the notebook we saw at the beginning of season 1, which is basically the way Dorothy's ticket in and out of Oz back to her home. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So that's the end of the first 3 episodes of season 102. So let's get on to ratings. I'm going to rate these 3, or I want you and I to rate these 3 as a whole, just like we did last time rating the first 3 episodes of season 1, which were called the pilot by themselves. It was an hour and 30-minute thing. So, for the story, what do you rate the story on this out of 10?
Well, 10. I like Lost in Oz.
Yeah, it's a good show. I mean, it's good
The rest
stories.
of the season is 10 out of 10, too.
Okay. For me, these first 2 episodes had a nice amount of suspense. I would rate it 10-10, except for that one plot hole about weren't the people worried that Scarecrow was missing?
Well, yeah, that too.
So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
And this isn't technically a spoiler, but they never mentioned Fitz again. Fitz, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They
Well,
never mentioned him again.
Didn't he die or something?
No, he didn't.
I don't know.
But they never mentioned him
Maybe
again.
they just couldn't get the actor back.
Well, okay, they mentioned him for this one scene, but then after that, they don't mention him again. And I was like, oh, well, I wanted the plot twist.
Okay. Animation. What do you think about the animation?
I think
Out of
they
10.
changed it.
Mm,
Because Dorothy's hair doesn't look like it was animated the same.
well, I have noticed that, it's a very unique. It's a very unique style if you've never seen it before. The characters, if you don't know, the characters, they look like they're actors. If you look at pictures of the actors, they shape the face and design it the way as the actors. By the way, we love the artwork that the Bureau of Magic, the animation company, thank you guys for sending us those little papers with the drawings on it. It's really nice. So animation, in my opinion, 10-10. It's great. Very unique style. Acting. I only brought this up because you can tell that the show is not a normal table read style where everyone's in the room recording. There's some lines where you can see, I can tell they couldn't get the guy back in to re-record the line. And it doesn't really make sense in that context. But still, 7-10. It's not as easy anymore to get people all together like that. Sound design. What would you say about sound design?
I feel like they put music too much in it.
Yeah, there's a little riff they use that. I mean, you probably can't guess what it is.
I'm fine with music, just not that much. No.
I only brought this up because in episode 3, there's that one GarageBand sound effect that they used. Because the stock suspense sound effect is but-um. I'm like, oh, come on. That's the GarageBand sound effect. So 9.999 out of 10. Okay. It's that little one. It pulled me out of the moment when I heard it. So overall, for this 3 first episodes, out of 10, 10 being the best, what would you rate this?
10. We already said this.
10 pieces of Ozonium. I forgot that. I'm trying to do that thing. 10 pieces of Ozonium out of 10.
Yeah. The Ozonium is the one in the middle, right?
Yeah, the most important one.
Yeah, okay.
So, out of this entire season, not telling us the specifics, just what would you rate it?
10.
Okay. I haven't seen the whole season yet. And follow up soon. I'll let you guys know when I finish it. I'll be watching it over
Do you know if they're
vacation.
gonna make another season?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I'm guessing they are because they haven't finished all the books. And
Yeah, because they sort of left it hanging.
And I mean it's won a lot of Emmy awards already, so I'm pretty sure Amazon's gonna keep it going. So I'll be finishing this up over vacation. I'll probably be watching this with a lot of Frasier because I'm stuck on that right now. But anyway, really great show to the Bureau of Magic and everyone who makes it out there. Great job. So recommendations of the week. Do you recommend this?
Yes.
Yep. Go check it out. If you don't have an Amazon Prime account, I believe the first episodes of both seasons are available for free to watch as long as you have an Amazon account. It's free. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If this was your first time, if you came here just because you wanted to hear us talk about this, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are available. We frequently talk about Amazon Prime original shows. A lot of the new ones that have been coming out recently look really interesting. We talk about them. So links for all the places that you can subscribe are available at rta.space/listen. If you have any suggestions, there's a show you want us to talk about, maybe you made a show, or you have jokes you want us to tell, or maybe even a word of the week, you can email us rocket2anywhereshow@gmail.com or tweet at us at RTA Show on Twitter. You can also direct message us on Instagram at rocket2anywhere. Show notes for this week's episode are available at rta.space/52, and you can keep up with us. Follow me on Twitter at Corban Garcia.
And me on Instagram. You know what? Add extra Sophia. And then in the bio, there's a pet account. Because, a doggo and a guinea pig are more exciting than no posts.
Yeah. Extra underscore Sophia.
Oh, yeah.
With an F. Because
yes, not a P.
Not a PH. Okay, so we'll be back a week after next to discuss something I'm not quite sure yet. Probably The Incredibles. But until then, this rocket has landed in a pile of ozonium.